in the past 2 years. The first year was last year. We went to China. This year we went to Ireland. So next year, Dr. Doya and Dr. Gan will lead students to France. So I think that's a good opportunity for you guys. If you're interested, so let's Dr. Doya take the class to introduce this program.
Well, thank you, Dr. Charles. I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with your students. So, as Dr. Charles mentioned, Dr. Gan and I are looking forward in May of next year to taking a group of students. We're looking for 10 students altogether who join us on a trip to France. And so I thought it would just take a couple of minutes of your time today to sort of let you know what the trip will involve. Also, what the relationship is between this trip and a class that is scheduled to start just after spring break in March of next year. So I do have a flyer. I'm sure you've seen it around the business building. I printed out some copies of it. So let me just give that to you. I realize that many of you are looking forward to graduation soon. But if you have need for an international business course, or if you're still looking for 3 credit hours in an upper level business, on an upper level business topic, then you may think about applying to go to France with Dr. Gan and I in May. How are you, Michael?
Good.
Of course. How's it going? It's going. So I just wanted to then spend a couple of minutes going over what we consider to be some of the essential details, what's really involved in our trip to France. And so it involves 2 professors, Dr. Gan and me. It also involves those who are selected to go to France registering in a course. It's an upper level management course, but it's not a management course, it's just sort of a course that we've created that will look at a number of topics. It'll look at business in Europe, so we'll examine the EU, we'll look at sort of the market importance from a marketing standpoint. We'll also look at economic issues in France. The course will also deal with some of the more practical matters involved in international travel. Hey, by show of hands, how many of you have traveled outside the US? Okay, good. So some of you have. If you have, you know what that experience is like. It's in some ways a little more involved, a little more complicated than travel within the US. How many of you have never been on an airplane? Okay, so a few of you have never been on an airplane, and that is an experience in itself. Certainly a trip to France involves, what do you think, like 7 hours maybe?
More than 7 hours.
More than 7 hours?
8 to 10 hours.
In an airplane, and that by itself is an experience. And so this trip to France and the course of which it is part is potentially sort of an opportunity for growth. And in fact, we do know that students who have international experience are even more desirable as prospective employees. So I would encourage you to think about this as a potential opportunity for you. When are we traveling? In May. May 5th to 19th, so it'll be a 2-week stretch, and it will be a real busy 2 weeks. And I'll tell you sort of, at least on a high level, what Dr. Gan and I are planning for you to do. What are your next steps if you're interested? Well, we are planning an information meeting October 4th in the afternoon, BA 107. Come and check us out. If you can't make that, then you can come and see me. If you don't know where I'm located, my office is just right next door to Dr. Charles. If you don't know where he's located, just check your syllabus out, okay? And Dr. Gan is around most days of the week, and so her or I would be happy to answer your questions if you can't make October 4th. But October 4th would be sort of a formal time to get some more details. If you're interested, we do have an application that we would like you to fill out, and the deadline for that is October 9th. You can find the application on the School of Business website, and I'll show you specifically where you'd go for that. Then there is an application that the university will have you fill out. It's much less involved than the application that you fill out for Dr. Dan and me. We may also, depending on interest, hold interviews with students because we're looking to sort of form a nice team, a mix of people, some of whom have international travel experience, but personally, I'm looking at bringing a group of students who are really new to the idea of France specifically, but also new to the idea of international travel. So altogether, we're looking for a mix of backgrounds in terms of who goes with us. So what are we planning to do? Well, on some level, we're planning to do all the touristy type stuff in France, the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, etc. But we're also planning to visit some companies, both within Paris and outside of Paris. Outside of Paris, we have 3 destinations in mind specifically. We're going to visit the Normandy beaches, a really important World War II site. Cities, we're looking at Vichy and Rennes. We're planning visits to chateaus, to dairy farms, to wineries. We're also planning to receive a talk by the former CEO of Michelin. The tire manufacturer is a French-based business, and we're expecting to hear from him as well. So we've got company visits planned both within Paris and outside of Paris. We're planning to do all the fun touristy type stuff, but to bring it down to earth by focusing on business in France as well. So this will keep you busy. You would have free time as well. But each and every day, Dr. Gann and I will have you doing something connected to our trip and the course. When you're there, you're likely going to be busy, of course, doing all the trips and everything, but also sort of journalizing your time, which would be part of the deliverables that you would turn in at the end of our two-week trip. Because, of course, this isn't just, a trip. It, in fact, leads to a 3-credit-hour course. Why should you consider it? Well, there's value in just sort of expanding your cultural awareness and knowing about business in what is a key European market. So France has been selected quite strategically because it's of real strategic importance for understanding what business is like in Europe, also just for knowing about how business is carried out in France specifically. We'll learn more about key French and European institutions. Of course, you'll get that international travel experience. You'll grow personally, and as I said earlier, it does make a person more attractive as a prospective employee. If you come to the October 4th information session, you'll know or you'll learn about, of course, the critical information, that being what is the cost. And the cost is quite competitive when you consider this being a 2-week trip to Europe. But there are also opportunities. There are some scholarship opportunities out there, one offered by the School of Business, another offered by the Maynard Honors College. So you'll learn about all this information. If you're thinking that finances are a concern, I can respect that, certainly. But at this point in time, I would just encourage you that if you have interest in traveling to France, do not let the financial side of it put you off. Okay? At least keep an open mind until we meet on October 4th. Because like I say, the price of it is quite competitive, and there are opportunities to bring the cost down. You'd have to go through the process of applying for those scholarships, but those opportunities are out there for students. So what are your next steps? Well, I've said it already. Come and check us out October 4th in the afternoon, BA 107. Get in touch with Dr. Dan or Dr. Doyle. We also on campus have an entire office, a group of people who are quite interested in exposing you to international opportunities. And so Alex Brandt in particular is someone to check out. You can visit the website International Programs for more information. And then you'll want to look up the application specifically on the School of Business website. So let me show you quickly where you would go for that. Okay, so you're on our website. You go to Students, International Opportunities. The flyer I've just given you is there. The application's about halfway down the page. It will open up as a Word document. You fill it out, and then you will turn that in by saving it and submitting it to Miss Cecilia Locklear, who many of you would know in your dealings with the Passport program. And that's it. Anyone have a question for me as to what the trip may involve? More about the course? Okay. Well, I'm always open for questions. Dr. Gann, the same with her, and we look forward to seeing you middle of next week.
I do have one. Does the course just cover kind of a electives situation, or is it going to be used in lieu of another current course on the?
It's not in lieu of another current course, so it's not that it's a course sort of delivered in France. So it's an elective course. That's where it would fit within your degree program, and the content of it is sort of custom developed for the trip. So it'll be quite focused on France, quite focused on international travel and issues around that. So where it would fit then, Alan, within your degree program, as I mentioned, the vast majority of you will need 3 hours in an international business topic, so it fits there. If you've already done international marketing or international management or some other international course, then it would fit as an upper level business elective because you need 6 hours of those. Finally, if you have those already, it would fit as a university elective. So it would fit in different places depending on your own circumstances.
As far as the language barrier, if we were to go and see the site, if you gave us spare time to go and tour, how much of an issue would that be going from English to French?
I think it is an issue, but France is not at all unaccustomed to having American or English-speaking visitors. So particularly in Paris, the tourist sites there are, there won't be much of an issue as far as I'm concerned. If you're quite interested in getting to know the local population, that may be more of a challenge. But I know some French as a Canadian. I learned it, in school. But today I consider myself quite a novice, and I'm not particularly concerned. We'll survive. Is the message. Do you need to be an able French-speaking person? The answer to that is no. The trip wasn't designed with that person in mind. Okay?
I think you shouldn't worry about the language because Paris is like London, like New York, and people definitely understand English. Well, if you have problem on like language, for example, see the street name, right, map. There's a lot of apps nowadays. You can download the app, and then you just type English to showcase French to the local people. So I think that with the new technology, I don't think you need to worry too much about that.
Yeah, part of the two cities that we're planning to see, in addition to Paris, Vichy and Rennes, those are smaller cities. So it won't be quite like Paris in the sense that you won't see as much English language signage or spoken. But still, I think that's part of the experience. Okay, so try not to be too dissuaded by that. Good question, though. It's an important consideration. Any other questions? Okay, thank you all for your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let me just restart this for you, Dr. Charles.
You don't need to sign out.
Yeah.
You don't need to reset. That's okay.
Well, I didn't know if maybe you had your own stuff to access.
Okay.
Thank you
so,
again.
Thank you, Dr. Doyle. Okay, so, well, you guys may know or may not know Dr. Doyle is from Canada, so he's definitely also very international. So we do have several international faculty from China, like myself, and from Canada, from Ghana originally. So I think you already exposed to the international culture by contacting with international faculty or international students, right? But travel abroad is totally different experience, right? Well, Dr. Doyle, by the way, Dr. Doyle before he joined UNC Pembroke, he worked in IBM, London office or British office for 1 year. So he lived in Europe for 1 year, yeah, as far as I know. And I traveled to Europe before. I traveled to Italy, Spain, and Portugal, right, with my 2 years old daughter, definitely my wife. Unfortunately, at that time I can't travel to France because it's winter time. Winter time, I try to avoid France or Germany because it's pretty cold. I travel to the southern Europe. My experience that okay, definitely. Even before I travel to Europe, I already have a lot of international traveling experience. I can't say a lot. Well, I'm from China, right? I traveled to Malaysia in Asia. I traveled to Canada. That's pretty much U.S. right? I think I'm pretty international. But I don't know Europe for so many years because I'm a big soccer fan. If you're a soccer fan, you definitely look at Europe like league or their culture, you know that, right? Some little bit of language, like or some gesture, like Italian finger. That's, if you know that, you just Google search Italian finger. That's when they complain, they always, I don't know, whining. So you know something about that, right? Right? If so the soccer team, right? They always complain with the justice. Why am a penalty? Why that's foul? So. But anyway, so that's I know a lot, but that's my feeling. Okay, before I travel to Italy or Spain, I know Barcelona, I know Real Madrid. I watch them game almost every week. Well, I know I travel to Barcelona and Madrid. Sevilla, I also know that team. Well, Portugal, Lisbon, I know that team too, right? But the problem is that I think I was very confident. Okay, I know Europe. I will see what's like Italy, Spain like. But only after I travel in these three countries for like 25 days, I realized that's a big gap between my understanding of these three countries and the reality of these three countries. Well, when you talk about soccer with them, well, then we have a lot of common language because we know, right? But when you talk about culture, preference, how do they business? Okay, for example, the taxi driver, will definitely detour a lot, some city, right? And my wallet was stolen in Barcelona, in the subway, right? Well, that's not some unpleasant experience. That's definitely some pleasant experience, like my daughter in Italy. Ciao, everyday ciao is like, hi, bye-bye, Espanol, in Spanish. She lost a little bit, I didn't know anything. But anyway, so my suggestion is only until you go to that country, you will know much better about this country. You definitely already have experience to expose to international culture here with our diversified community. But this is not enough. I guarantee it's not enough. Well, as a person who watched the Italy soccer for 30 years, it's definitely not enough. Well, until you travel to Italy to know their country. So, for example, one thing totally changed my mind after traveling to Europe. Before I traveled to Europe, well, I think European Union is a great idea. I think European Union will become a superpower in the future when most countries agree to merge together as a whole nation. You think about it, if European Union, all countries merge together, their GDP is much larger than the United States, no mention China or other big economies, right? I think they already have euros. I think they are on the road, correct road, especially like 3 years ago, to merge together, become a superpower in the world. That's my feeling. But after I travel to these just three countries, I find there's very little chance they can really become one country. In Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, they have museum, huge square, to celebrate the victory to Spain on 15,000, something like that. 1525, something like that. Big war. They celebrate every day. That we merge. Do you still want to celebrate that? So you know that it's historical. They have rivals. They are proud of that. Proud of their history. Language another problem, right? Not every country can speak good English. They speak a totally different language. Spanish, Portugal, and Italian. Well, they are very different. Well, and they can understand a little bit each other, European country, but it's still different. The idea, the culture, very, very different. The food, very different. I really like the food in Italy, but not too much in Spain. Okay, Spain, I had a very good experience in the Spanish restaurant back to Boston, the seafood restaurant. Very, very good rice. But when I went to Spain, I find that rice is not so attractive for me. I still prefer the restaurant in Boston. So, but anyway, only until you travel, it's totally changed my mind. I say, oh, I can't see that in my life. Probably that's my granddaughter will see that, or grandson. But I don't think I can see that day come true. That totally changed my mind. Well, that's just one example. Another thing, this opportunity is so attractive is that I'm not sure about the price. They are still trying to figure out how many scholarships you can apply that. But I know 2 years ago, when we begin this program, the first time we went to China, I think the total price is like $1,200. 2 weeks trip to China. The air tickets itself, if you book by yourself, just the economical cabin, is about $1,000. That's all. You pay another $200, 2 weeks, lodging, right? Travel experience, high-speed train. That I want to go, but unfortunately I'm not qualified to go. Oh my goodness. Well, I did went back to China that summer. I spent my own money. Right? As I tell you, the ticket is already $1,000. So we have a lot of subsidy. After you graduate from UNC Pembroke, after you leave school, I really don't think you have these big benefits to cut your cost to travel overseas. I think that's also monetary is very, very attractive. Employee base, I agree with Dr. Doyle. Maybe at the beginning stage, when you apply a job after graduate, it's not a big deal. You don't travel overseas or not. But think about after 5 or 10 years later, well, you have to deal with globalization. Then the experience traveling overseas definitely can add some points will further progress in your career. My feeling, right? It's not lead by me, so I have no direct relationship with it, but I really think it's a great opportunity for you guys to be more open-minded, explore these different culture. Okay. Okay, so I will give you back your homework by the end of today's class. And I already finished grading all our student homework. And well, that is the performance is kind of mixed. We have some students that have very good score. Full score, 97, 93, 92. We have some students that the problem is that they didn't finish the homework. They have like 1, 2, 3 questions empty. That's you can't expect to get a very good score in the homework. So I understand that it's the first homework. Even I post as 2 weeks in advance, right? But I understand maybe some students underestimate time you need to spend or not schedule of pace. But it's fine. It's counts for 7%. There's nothing we can do except if you find some grading error. Okay, and then we can discuss. But I hope the students who can't finish the homework learn this lesson. Okay, from next 2 homeworks, you don't want to miss any question. You want to try. I'm pretty generous to give the partial credit if you try. But if you don't try, there's no way I can give any single point to you. That's question blank. Okay. And also remember, we have exam on when? Next Monday. I already posted a sample exam in Blackboard. You go to Blackboard, check that's a sample exam. So I would suggest you to do the sample exam by yourself, or you don't have time, at least look at question and answers to understand that. Most likely that won't be the same question in the exam Monday, but you know the format, get the idea. Time control is very important, time management. It's open book and open notes, but we only have 1 hour. Well, Dr. Doyle's class is after our class. You don't want to see Dr. Doyle again, except 2 students, they have to see. But yeah, most students, you won't want to stay too long until Dr. Doyle comes to this classroom. Right? So we only have 1 hour, 25 multiple choice questions. That is, prepare well, or even you didn't prepare well for the homework one, definitely exam 1, 15%. Okay, it's important. Questions? Dylan?
When will the next homework be due?
Next homework will probably be due approaching the end of October.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 3 homework, and the last homework is definitely the final before the final week at the end of November. So after the exam 1, we will have the first group case study. I'll ask you guys, okay, you can think about it now, okay, even before the exam. Okay, who is your friend? Everybody's your friend, right? Okay, who you like most? Everybody you like most. But anyway, who do you prefer to become teammates? Let me know. Usually the group member is like 45 people, but you let me know in advance, then I can try to satisfy your preference. And then for the rest of the students, I will randomly divide you into the groups. You will have fun to work with your team member to do the case study. Right? Well, just pay attention. I have just one time experience. That's one boy is so popular. Two groups claim to have this boy. I don't know. I can't satisfy this preference. That guy is insane. Why you both want me to this group? But anyway, so I hope this won't happen in this class. Okay. Right. So now we'll begin our journey of chapter 10, the quality control. We have the quality control chapter is a little bit different with all the chapters we have studied so far. All other chapters where we talk about is most likely focused on the operation management. But quality we know is not just for operation, it's also for our sales, it's for our marketing. It's important, it has stronger connection with other departments. So that's why we need to have a very standard process for the quality control. Here are the learning objectives for this chapter. We should explain the lead for quality control. Why we need to do quality control? The basic issues of inspection. If you say we want to check the quality, you have to do the inspection, right? Listen and briefly explain the elements of control process. And the next, we'll talk about how to build control charts to monitor the process. And use the control charts and interpret the control charts. How do you run a test to check the non-randomness in process outputs? Well, you guys have done a homework, right? You remember on homework 30, we already did some control chart in forecasting chapter. And in problem 30, the last part, is in part C, is asked about, okay, whether this forecast is under control. And many students get the correct answer to show this picture and say it's not random, so it's not under control. Even all numbers are in this chart, okay, this range, but it's not random. It has a cycle. So very good observation. Seamlessly we'll do here, right? Even we build a control chart, everything looks under control, but we still report them to see, okay, maybe still some non-randomness here. Finally, we'll talk about the process capability. The process capability is like that, right? The quality is really depends on criteria. For example, you can say, I'm a very good student, and then ask you, okay, what is your GPA? Say 2.5. Well, it really depends on criteria, right? Is that 2.5 it means good in academia or not so good? People have different opinion, right? Let's say 3. It's even harder to judge whether this course is good or not so good or between. So every people have their own opinion on your qualities. The capability is different, right? You may have your standard. You say, okay, that's my GPA 3.5 is one of the best in my college, right? But the problem, okay, that's like a big company like Google. They say I only want graduates GPA about 3.8. Then you are not capable. Simply, you can't say, okay, in the uniform standard I'm pretty good, but 3.5 not enough for Google or some company like that. So we will talk about capabilities that's required by our customer, right? If they have high requirements on the quality, even your process is very stable, there's no random variation, simply you can't satisfy their requirement. You are not capable, right? So that's a problem. For example, my personal example, right? I think I drive in United States for more than 10 years, right? In different states. There's no problem I park in UNC Pembroke, right? The parking lot. But I always have problem when I travel to Manhattan in New York to do the parallel parking. Right? Because it will take me 5 minutes to do the parallel parking, and nobody is patient to wait for you 5 minutes. They only give you 15 seconds to do that, right? So I'm a good driver. Frankly speaking, I still think I'm a very good driver. No problem for parking, but I'm not capable to do the parallel parking in Manhattan. Raleigh downtown is fine, right? That's a totally different story, right? Pembroke downtown, we don't need to do the parallel parking probably. But you can see the problem here, right? You can't say well, Charles is a really bad driver, but he is not capable to drive in Manhattan. Similar, when you travel to Europe, you guys will travel to France, right? I can tell you that the skill you learn here for driving has nothing to do with driving in big city in Europe. When I travel to Rome, I'm so amazed when I sit in taxi. Okay, they just go to very, very tiny road with all parallel parking and cars and bikes, motors, and then the driver just can go like with 40 miles per hour. Right? I'm scaring a little bit, right? But also, I can't drive back to my hometown, back to China. No way. No way. I was so scared because there are so many people walking, so many people ride the bicycle, motorcycle, and nobody follow the rules. I can't say nobody. Many people don't follow the rules. But I will avoid so many people. And then I'm in big trouble because everybody behind me are not so patient. They think, hey, just go, right? So that's the problem, right? So the capability is the thing we were talking about. Okay. So first we'll talk about what is quality control. So quality control is a process to evaluate the output relative to a standard and then take corrective action when the output doesn't satisfy our standard. So you can see from the definition, before we do any quality control, we need to have a standard. Well, think about how we decide, okay, what is a good student or not a good student? You must have some standard. Well, how we decide is a good candidate or not a good candidate? Without standard, everybody can argue, right? I like Alan because Alan wear green shirts, right? But is that related to the good candidates or good students? Most likely not. But every people have their own preference. So for product, for service, you need to have the criteria, standard, before we can judge the quality. So if the results are acceptable, we don't need to do anything, okay? It's follow our standard. Unacceptable, we have some corrective action. But also pay attention, this is just quality control, okay, the standard. It's not the capability. You may have your standard, right? Your standard, you satisfy your standard, okay, but it's maybe not capable to satisfy my as a customer requirements. Inspection is not so generally not sufficient to achieve a reasonable level of quality, right? If you just do the inspection, or you don't have the criteria, or you don't have corrective action, then it's still the quality can't be very good. Most organizations rely on some inspection and a great deal of process control to achieve the acceptable level. So here is the progress of quality assurance. The least progress is that we do the inspection of lots before after the production. Okay, that's before and after. And the higher level for the process control is that inspection and the corrective action during the production. It's not just before or after. In the middle part, we already take control. And the highest level is that quality builds into the process. Okay, so already, anytime we find a problem, we improve further, we do that much better next time. So that's continuous improvement. But let's begin with the basic stage, do the inspection. So inspection is an appraisal activity that compares goods or service to a standard. Some question we need to ask ourselves for doing inspection is how much and how often. Usually the more the better for the quality part. But so what's the problem if we do a lot of inspections? Any problems? We check.
Well, you have to pay for
Yeah.
each of the inspections.
The cost, right? And also time delay, right? We can delay our time, right? Okay. And what's points in the process to inspect? Well, like last slide has mentioned, right? Many companies will decide to do that before or after production. That's pretty obvious. Before the production, you want to check quality of like raw material. If garbage in, garbage out, right? You have a better raw material quality, then you can't have a good quality of finished good. That makes sense. Why we want to do the inspection after we finish the production? Why we need to do that? After we finish the production.
Well, it doesn't go out to a customer and you have customer complaints or issues with your retailers.
Very good. Like Alan mentioned, that's the last step before we can find the problem by ourselves. Those customers find the problem. So definitely after production, especially before you ship this out, you should check the quality. Right? And whether to inspect in a centralized or on-site location. Now centralized means, okay, for example, you guys must heard some news. Maybe some of you heard some news about our water problem. Have you heard about this news?
Oh, no.
No? You never heard about that? In the Wilmington? Anybody from Wilmington here? Nobody from Wilmington? Jacksonville? Nobody? But that area, the problem is that Cape Fear River is the major water source for residents close to Wilmington area. But that's a chemical company in the Bay area. They just put their chemical components. The name is called Gen X. Okay, it's just a name, but if you go to chemical, that's pretty complex. So the Gen X was just directly go to the river, and then river provide the water for the Wilmington area citizens. Well, the professor, I think in NC State or Chapel Hill, forget, figure this out. Okay, this component can be pretty dangerous to hurt the body, hurt our health. And then they did that for decades. Recently discovered. Well, the problem is that these components is known as the forbidden components in the EPA or our Environment Protection government's website. But in the recent study in the past 10 years, it's fine. Okay, it may have some direct relationship with higher cancer rates. So you can see that's always a lag, right? So you say, okay, I'm totally legal to do that, right? Because it's not forbidden. But if we wait until this regulation become valid, we sacrifice a lot of people for more than 10 years their health, right? So that inspections happen in central position. Only the professor or some lab in Chapel Hill Institute can do this inspection. You can't do that. Most water companies don't have this material or equipment to check this specific component. That's the centralized quality control. You see that? The water. But in some other company, they choose that, okay, we did that. We ship this car before we ship out, we check the quality. Right? How many scratch, how many dents we have in the brand new car. That's the decentralized or on-site one. You see the difference, right? My question here, what's the advantage if we do the inspection in the centralized location? Like send it to just one lab, UNC Chapel Hill's lab? Any advantage to do that? Alan?
There's not kind of a preference or a feeling like you don't want anything bad to come out of it if you do it yourself, because then that can cause
You
problems.
want to protect yourself,
Yeah,
right?
you
Defend
want to
yourself.
send it to somewhere else where they don't have a direct relationship.
Objective.
They're more objective. yeah.
That's good. Any other reason, or you want to go to the centralized location to do the inspection?
The specialization.
Specialization, expertise.
Yeah, well, people at the centralized location, they're probably, better at
Yeah.
judging this quality.
Yes, for example, for the water company, they can do some basic check. That's for some really new component. They don't have this equipment or knowledge, right? So that's we have to rely on special location to do that. Very good. What's the benefits if we do that on site? We do our inspection on site. Any benefits?
Faster response.
Very good. As Dina mentioned, okay, customer not patient. Why you have to send the central and come back and ship to me? I want that. Okay, if that's not so hard, you do that by yourself. All right. Definitely save some costs, transportation costs. You don't need to send to the central position to do that. And from time thinking about that, you can save some time to improve your process. You find the problem, you can do that now to solve the problem, improve that. But if you go to central position and the feedback, wait for the feedback, and then to improve, that's long waiting time. Okay, finally, whether to inspect the attributes or variables. We'll talk about the attributes and the variables probably next Wednesday. Okay, next Monday is the exam time. How much we inspect? We can see that the cost of inspection increase almost linear when the amount of inspection increase. That makes sense, right? Every time we do the inspection, it costs $100. 2 times $200, 3 times $300. The cost of passing the defective decrease, but the decrease rate is reduced when we increase the amount of inspection. And the dashed line is the total cost line. You can see that's the optimal amount of inspection here exists. Like we have done for capacity, it's the same, right? That's the optimal output rate. Well, to find this optimal amount of inspection is not so easy, because it's even harder than the capacity planning, because it's really hard to build a mass model to find the optimal solution. But that exists. Typical inspection points, so we have discussed raw material, purchase parts, before ship to the customer, finished good, before very expensive operation, go to some expensive machine, before an irreversible process. For example, if you assemble some component together, you definitely want to check the quality of some component. Before a covering process. Centralized versus decentralized or on-site inspection, we have talked about why centralized sometimes is preferred, more specialized machine, favorable testing environments, right? On-site, okay, we save some time, quicker decision, avoid the introduction of exogenous factors, okay, we control quality as a source. So, I will stop my class today because, okay, we definitely have a lot of time to do that, to introduce the statistics process control model. So I will give back your homework. I will also post the homework answer online. Have I posted that? Probably not. Okay, I'll post that for sure. So when you review your homework, well, definitely you want to review your homework before taking the exam. And if you have questions, you find, okay, this grading doesn't make sense, and then you can talk to me today or maybe Monday. That's totally fine. Okay, Eric. Robert. Dylan. Gracie. Joseph. Michael Locklear. Gerard. Montreal.